Alright, hello everyone. Today I want to show you how you can get started with Nestjs. Nestjs is a very popular production-ready backend framework, or mostly used for backend and REST API tasks or GraphQL. And I want to give you a quick introduction to it and how you can connect it with Prisma, with a database, and how you can perform basic CRUD operations. But first of all, if you want to have some courses or ready to use full stack templates, head over to learn.coding-c.com. You can create a free account and you can basically buy production ready templates and save you hours of time. So I hope to see you here. There are discounts sometimes, so I hope to see you here. And another thing is, feel free to join our Discord server. There are like 32 people right now. New people joining every hour. So if you have any coding related questions, feel free to join the Discord, find some friends, create projects together, and so on and so forth. All right, let's go. So first of all, Nest.js. So let's see how we can start a new Nest.js project. So I go to the documentation, and I will go with the installation process. So first of all, you have to install the Nest CLI. I already did that, so if I do it again, nothing should really change. Maybe we get some updates. But yeah, you have to install the Nest CLI. Give it a second to finish downloading. And then you can start creating a new project with Nest, new, and then let's say basic Nest tutorial. Hit enter. Wait a little bit until it's initialized. And yeah, it will ask you what package manager you want to use. I will choose npm because it's just the default one and everyone has it installed. And as you can see, it's initializing and installing the project. So again, give it a few seconds to wait until it's done. All right, it's finished. So let's go into that folder and open it up in VS Code so we can see the project structure and so on. All right, so just to get started, let's just run npm run start dev, and this should start up our scaffolded project where everything is set up, and you can just start to build your application compared to Express, where you have to set everything up yourself. Nest has already done that for you using best practices and so on. So yeah, it's quite nice. Now application started, and if we go to our main.ts, we can see what port it's using. So let's go over to localhost port 3000, and as you can see, hello world, so our application is working. So first of all, I want to show you how you can perform CRUD operations. So let's talk a little bit about, let me remove the testing files for now, we don't need it. So let me talk a little bit about the structure of Nest. Nest is using the same structure like Angular, for example, where you have modules, and these modules have controllers and providers. And like if we go to the controller, you can see we have plenty of decorators. Just controller says to Nest here, this is a new endpoint. And now we have a get method. This is what we saw in a browser. So for example, get is just a verb for an HTTP request. We have get, put, post, patch, delete, and so on. So for example, if I go into that service function, you can see hello world. If I change it now to hello coding club and save it, it's automatically refreshed, and you can see hello coding club. So we also, it follows the typical model view controller, where you have like just a model which is your database, like let's say Prisma. You have a controller. This is just the guy who knows what to accept and who to send it to, in this case the app service, the getHello method, and it's returning right now just plain text. So if you want to return JSON, for example, you can just use an object and say message hello world. And we also have to remove that return type because it can infer it. So if we go back to our browser, you can see, let me see. Yep, we have to remove this one as well. And as you can see, we're getting JSON back. All right, so now let's start to create our to-do routes. So you can use the Nest CLI again. So you can say Nest G for generate, resource, and call it to-dos. Again, give it a small second to initialize everything. Now it's asking you what transport layer we want to use. In our case, we're using REST API, but as you can see, microservices, WebSockets, GraphQL, everything is available. So I just go with REST. And now it's asking us if it wants to perform or generate basic CRUD entry endpoints. Let's hit yes. And now let's see what was generated. So as you can see, we have a new folder, to-dos. And again, same pattern. We have the controller, which says to-dos. And then we have a post request, a get request to find all, and a get request to find one specific one. Again, same patch to update one and delete for deleting by ID. So if we go ahead and start our project again and go to localhost 3000/todos, you can see this action returns all to-dos. So what's happened here? It went to the to-dos controller. The to-dos controller has a method called get, and then it's calling this method from the service, and this just returns the string. This action returns all to-dos. So what we can do now is we can start to implement our database, so we can store to-dos we received from the user. So to do that, we go back to our documentation and we are looking for Prisma. Set up Prisma. There we go. And as you can see, we have to install Prisma as a dev dependency first. Install it. And then we can initialize Prisma. So initialize Prisma. Again, give it a small second. And do we need to do anything else? Nope, that's it for now. So as you can see, we have a Prisma folder with a schema, which is Postgres by default, but I will change it to SQLite, like so. And we also have to change this one to our DB file because we are using SQLite. All right. And now we can start to create our to-do model. So we can do like model to-do. And as you can see, GitHub Copilot suggested us a schema. So we have an ID, we have a created and an updated field. So the updated field gets changed every time the resource gets modified. And yeah, let's say we just have a title for now. That's enough to show you how you can perform basic CRUD operations, like so. All right, all you have to do then is you type npx prisma db push, and this will go ahead and create your dev.db file for you where you can find your database. And you also can run npx prisma studio to open up like a database editor. So let me open this up. And as you can see, we have no to-dos yet because we haven't created some. Correct. Now we can install the Prisma client to get types from Prisma itself, so we don't have to type our interfaces and types manually. Prisma already generated them for us, so we are fine here. And now we have to create a Prisma service with so we can inject it into our service. And Nestjs has provided an injectable decorator, which helps us to inject it into our service, and that's just called dependency injection. So let's say prisma.service.ts, and let's paste it in like so. And now we can go ahead and go to our to-dos module, and as you can see in the docs, where is it? Let me see. Where is it? We have to inject it first so we can use it. So let's see. Did they show it in the docs or not? I'm not quite sure. Okay, let's give it a try. You can see the error, I mean. So let's go back to our service and let's create a constructor and say private read-only Prisma service, like so. And now for the find all method, we can say return this dot Prisma service dot to do dot find many, like so. Now let's go ahead and start our server backup, and I think we are getting an error. Yeah, correct. We're getting an error because Prisma service, our to-dos module does not know about Prisma service, and we have to set it explicitly to include it. So come here, create an imports array, and import Prisma service, like so. Save it again. And now we have another problem. Must appear in the imports array of a module. Prisma service, Let's see, add module, to-dos module. Must not appear in the imports array of a module. Please remove Prisma service from all imports arrays. Okay, so we're gonna remove it from here. And now we have the same error again. So it can't resolve the dependencies. And it gives you some solutions on what you can check. So is to-dos module a valid module? Yes. If Prisma service is a provider, is it part of the current to-dos module? If Prisma service is exported from a separate module, we have to put it in an import service. So we have to provide it in our Prisma service, in our provider section. Let's save it, and as you can see, our application is starting again. And if we go back here, you can see we're getting an empty array because we have nothing in the database yet, but it's using our database right now. Okay, now let's go ahead and create our first to-do. So I'm using Thunder client. Let me create a new request, and let's say HTTP localhost 3000/to-dos. And we can make the request here as well, and we're getting an empty response like in a browser. If I now change it to post, and let's say we have a name, my first to-do, and if I try to send it, you can see that we need to change our to-do service. So this is not using our Prisma service right now. So let's change this one, and let's say this.prisma service.to-do.create and data.create-to-do. And as you can see, we're getting an error because we are using DTO, a data transfer object. So this one will validate our incoming request. So we need to tell it what arguments we want to accept. So in our case, we just want to accept a title. So we can say add is string. Like so. And it's called title, which is a string. And now you can see is string could not be found. This is because we haven't installed the class validator yet. So let's go here and let's say class validator and go ahead and stop your project. Install the class validator and the class transformer. There we go. And as you can see, now we can import our is string, save it, check, and let's say name create to do dot name. It's not called name, it's called title. My mistake. Like so. And let's start our server backup. Server started up. So now if we make the request again, you can see title is missing. So our validator did not work. And this is because we have to use a validation pipe. So it's using our validation. And to enable it globally, you can see it here. So all we have to do is go to our main.ts, come here and use the validation pipe, like so. And now let's make a post request again. And as you can see, title must be a string. So for example, if I change it to title, you can see we are getting our resource. But for example, if I send an empty string, you can see it's also created it, but we don't want that. So what you can do is go to your DTO and say add is not empty, save it again, make the request again, and as you can see, title should not be empty. So you can validate very easily your incoming requests so you don't have wrong or missing data in your controllers and services. All right, this is a create DTO. But we also, or first of all, let me show you that we are getting all of our to-dos here. As you can see, here are both of our to-dos. So let's come here. So we can create a to-do now. We can find all to-dos. The next part is to find an to-do by ID. So let's come here. We already have the ID from the to-do in here because we are using the param decorator and it's automatically grabbing the specific ID we provide. So all we have to do here, quite simple, return this .prisma service .todo.find unique, because we know an ID is always unique. Swap. Save it. Go back here. Let's use the ID of 1 and let's say /1. And as you can see, here's our single to-do. So we can also get a to-do by ID. And I think right now you kind of get the concept of how this is working. So what is our next one? Our next one is patch. So same thing here. We have an update DTO, which also extends from our create DTO. And because of that, it's using the same validators, but I want to show you how you can just create a different update DTO. So just copy this one over and replace the name. And let's just import it from here. And as you can see, it's exactly the same thing. So you can do it that way or the way which was shown before. It's up to you. So for example, if you say, okay, I can only create a to-do with a title, but I can update to do with a done state, for example. You can separate it, but that's totally up to you. Plenty of ways to do it. So again, let me just remove the testing files. What's our next thing? Update. So let's try out our update. We change it to patch. We want to change the to-do of 1, and let's just call it changed and give it a send. And as you can see, we need to include we need to update our update1 function. So same thing here, prisma service.todo.update, where ID is equal to the ID we provided, and what should be changed? The title. So quite simple again. Save it, give it a change again, and as you can see, our title got changed. And if I come back here, you can see title changed. So we can also change specific resources. Great. Now our last part is the delete one. Quite similar. We have the ID here again. We can come in here. If someone's wondering what this plus means in front of that ID, it's converting it to a string. It's converting it to a number. So if you see this plus sign, it's like converting it automatically. So yeah, you can change from a string, because if you get payload, it's a JSON, and JSON is always a string. So you can convert it back to a number. Okay, enough talking. Let's go back to our remove. Again, same thing. I think Copilot can also finish it for us. It's basically the same thing. Delete where ID, and we can come back here, click delete, and send. And as you can see, status okay. If I come back here now, you can see we didn't got anything because the to-do does not exist. You should cover that error or that case. But if I go back to to-dos, we only have the ID 2. And yeah, this is just a basic setup on how you can perform CRUD operations for a REST API and so on and so forth. It's quite easy. You have to get used to the model view controller concept, but if you're coming from Java or even Angular, even if it's a front-end framework, you get quite familiar with the structure of the project. And yeah, Nest is built on top of Express. You can optionally use Fastify as well if you need performance. Yeah, this is like a small introduction. I hope you like it. Feel free to join our Discord. Feel free to come to our website to get some very nice time-saving templates. And I would say see you on the next video. Bye-bye.